Hey, good morning, eighth graders. This is for you guys. I've got my coronavirus beard here that's growing, and hopefully we've only got a few more weeks of what's going on. For you guys that are skiers and snowboarders, my goodness, I feel for you because there seems like there's an awful lot of snow up there on the mountains. Um, Guys, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, I just pray that you have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen. I was really impressed by a lot of your projects, a lot of your presentations. I'm just about done with those. If you haven't submitted yours or you haven't made your corrections, um, getting to be a little bit late, guys. All right, and just remember to follow my suggestions. All right, so here we go. So today, 3/31, March 31st, the last day in March, and we are talking about Reconstruction. Before I forget, uh, BJU Press, Teacher Tools Online. If you'd like some more information on that, I am gonna put the link on my webpage, or on, not on the webpage, on the email that I'm sending you guys out. And if you're not getting these emails, guys, you need to make sure that that my email is not in your that these emails coming out of fax are not in your spam. So, Reconstruction, radical Reconstruction. Abraham Lincoln's dead, um, and Andrew Johnson took over. Some terms, black coats. I'm going to be pretty blunt here when it comes to the black coats. All that was another form of slavery, and unfortunately, as I talked about yesterday, we had to deal with the black coats up through the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and in some cases in the South, they were trying everything they could, guys, to keep an impoverished people still in slavery. All right, and in many cases they were pretty successful at it. This is where the Ku Klux Klan came out of. All right, and in 1995, as I told you guys before, down in Mississippi, as I was headed to the airport, what did I see? A huge church building that said Knights of the Ku Klux Klan on it, big white building. Totally blew me away. All right, as I've said many, many times, I'm going to say it again. Racism has no place in our country. Racism has no place in our classroom. Treating each other lousy based on the color of their skin is totally wrong. All right, we're brothers and sisters in Christ. This makes no difference. All right, and quite honestly, be praying for the people that think otherwise. Anyway, they were dealing with this in the South. But once again, think about what it took. You're talking about about people that have been, as Frederick Douglass said, when he was trying to learn to read, he'd get whipped. Think about people that were forcibly that were kept from getting educated, and now you're way, way, way behind the curve. It's kind of like this coronavirus thing. A lot of people got way, way, way behind the curve, if you will. All right. Now you've got a whole population, 4 million people, that have no education and have these basic skills. And now you're just going to go, okay, yep, you're on your own. All right. Many with ambition, many with desires, many with incredible hearts to to change and have a great life. All right. This is why there was a great migration. One of the reasons why there was a great migration after the Civil War to the north when with the factories opening up. I mean, people didn't want to be treated the same way they'd always been, but these black codes guys were essentially another way of the South to get around what the Republicans, what the Reconstruction people were trying to do. Okay, now as you read yesterday, you've got uh, you've got radical Reconstruction. All right, you've got radical Republicans. You've got presidential Reconstruction. Remember, all Lincoln wanted people to do, you wanted 10% of the population to come in to swear allegiance. What did the stronger radical Republicans want? You had to 50%, okay, to vote allegiance. Okay. Why was Andrew Johnson put on? Why did Lincoln put Andrew Johnson on the 1864 ticket to begin with? All right. Why was he his running mate? Why did he become vice president? And remember, there was only one reason, because he was from the South. Okay. They wanted to rebuild the South. And Andrew Johnson is one of the very few senators from Tennessee that stayed loyal to the Union. Okay. Now, let's continue on. And guys, you have questions today that need to be answered by tomorrow. So I'm going to keep you from it, or I'm not going to keep you from it. But so today's questions, among them, what was the Wade Davis bill? Let's take a look. Okay, Congress developed its own Reconstruction plan, the Wade Davis bill. By this plan, a state could re-enter the Union only when 50% of its voters who were registered in 1860 had taken the oath of allegiance. Okay? People who wanted to help write the new state constitution had to swear that they had never supported the Confederacy voluntarily. Oh boy. Okay? The states had to abolish slavery, and they had to abandon claims that the federal government should repay them for debts incurred during the war. The Wade Davis bill passed both houses. Congress was clearly asserting its intention to be in control of readmitting states. All right, Lincoln, however, objected to the bill. This was before he was assassinated. Rather than sending Congress a formal message, Lincoln just killed it. All right, with a pocket veto, 1864. Conflict between Congress and Lincoln had not been resolved. When he was shot and killed, Andrew Johnson was left to battle with Congress and the control of Reconstruction. So therefore, Wade Davis bill essentially reactivated. Okay. You'll find in your book when it came to page 301, Andrew Johnson was not highly educated. All right. He was one of the few people outside of Abraham Lincoln that had really not gone to college. Okay. All right. Anyway, guys, real quick. I don't want to keep you guys. Once again, we're 7.5 minutes into it. Okay, Johnson opposed Tennessee's vote to secede in 1861. By the way, video today. It's on your worksheets. Guys, this is what I want you to do. I tried to get the President series, and there is a copyright on it. Copyright infringement for the President series when it came to Andrew Johnson and Ulysses S. Grant. So I ended up going to the Ultimate Guide to the Presidents and just go through Andrew Johnson and Grant. Okay, your reading today is pages 303 to 311, and you need to answer the questions on page 311 as well as the other questions in Google Classroom for tomorrow. All right, a couple of things. Okay, we talked about black codes. We talked about, let's see. All right, your questions on. I'm just going to go through a couple real quick. All right, Freedmen's Bureau. What was the Freedmen's Bureau? That was the organization that did what? Okay, that took care of former slaves. A freedman was a former slave. Pure and simple, right? Okay, this is where you had schools start up. Lots of them, fast. Now, a carpetbagger. A carpetbagger was somebody that came down from the north, either to hold political office or to come and help in Reconstruction in the South. All right, that was a carpetbagger. These people, the difference between a carpetbagger and a scallywag, essentially was carpetbagger had good intentions for the most part. A scallywag, no. Okay, but once again, what are you trying to do? You're trying to rebuild a totally destroyed portion of the United States, worse off, way worse than things are going right now by multitudes. All right, and you got a whole portion of the country that's been completely wiped out. with, and we talked about yesterday, wounded soldiers come back, when it's hard to tend to farm when you got one leg and no arms. Okay? Those kind of things. All right. Anyway, guys, um, so that's what Freedmen's Bureau was trying to do. Okay, guys. 14th Amendment. What was the 14th Amendment? Made all American citizens of both the United States and the state where they resided. Now, this is for African Americans, but I submit to you that it all is also because they were having trouble out here on the West Coast with Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, all right, Korean Americans, etc. They were having trouble here on the West Coast in that area, all right. Okay, uh, let's see. So here we go. Radical Reconstruction rules. All right, Reconstruction Act of 1867. This is all on page 305. All right. Yes, you guys have some reading to do, but I think you guys can do it real easy. All right. Now, here we go. Carpetbaggers. All right. Northerners, because and whoa. Understand why were they called carpetbaggers? Because a suitcase at the time was, in many cases, made out of carpet. Hence the term carpetbagger. Now, here we go. A scalawag. A white Southerner who supported Reconstruction was called a scalawag. Some scalawags had been Unionists during the Civil War. Your staunch Southerners. I don't know if I'm able to speak Southern this morning, or this afternoon, or whatever time. Oh, 5 minutes to 11, almost lunchtime. All right, for you guys. Okay. Anyway, uh, the deal was, guys, a scalawag was somebody that actually supported the Union from the South during the Civil War. Okay, according to Southern. All right. By the way, guys, understand when we talk about the Reconstruction Act of 1867, it ordered the Army to ensure that the South complied with congressional mandates. Black Southerners, and I'm reading at the top of 306, okay, and Southern Unionists welcomed the measure, but many other Southerners resented the military occupation of the South. And why did the military occupy the South? Because if they didn't, none of these laws, none of these things would have taken effect. It's kind of like poor little Ruby Bridges when she wanted to go to school and took the National Guard to protect her. Anyway, all right, guys. Anyway, Southern aristocrats tried to keep African Americans, by the way, from holding office, but they also remember the African Americans were given the right to what? Oh, 15th Amendment, black voting rights. Yes. Okay, cool. But once again, your Southern aristocracy that it held, they were trying to get around that. But let's continue on here, guys. 307. Guess who? We're going to Andrew Johnson, the only guy to ever get impeached. Well, actually, I mean, Donald Trump got impeached, but there was no way he was going to get thrown out of office. But Andrew Johnson was the first. Okay, the radicals did not like Johnson from day one. Johnson's cabinet did not like Johnson from day one. They felt like they should rule as a committee, and Johnson should just be there because Lincoln had been assassinated. All right. Anyway, guys, so the gist of it is, I want you to know what the tenure TENURE of OF Office Act, okay, made it illegal for the president to remove any appointee who had been approved by the Senate unless the Senate also approved the dismissal. Could you imagine President Trump dealing with that one? Or unless it was the unless it was the House approving the dismissal. Oh my goodness. Him and Miss Pelosi. Anyway, guys. All right. Johnson tested the law by firing Edward Stanton, Secretary of War, whom Lincoln had appointed. Anyway, guys, so I want you to read. It's pretty interesting reading, by the way, about the Tenure of Office Act and about the the thought of removing the president. All right. Anyway, guys, going up to 310. Hey, Johnson's achievement in foreign affairs. This is where Johnson was actually, he's listed as one of the worst presidents in the history of the country. But honestly, I mean, he bought Alaska. Okay. They called it back then Seward's Folly. Johnson's, and I'm just going to read this paragraph on 310. All right. I realize we're 15 minutes into it. Johnson's achievement in foreign affairs. Congress had thwarted Johnson's policies at home, but Johnson's achievement in foreign affairs were noteworthy. In 1864, Napoleon III, the Emperor of France, had challenged the Monroe Doctrine by setting up Austrian Archduke Maximilian as the puppet Emperor of Mexico. Because the Civil War occupied Lincoln at the time, Lincoln could not send troops to to evict Maximilian. Lincoln could only reprimand the French. By the way, Maximilian couldn't speak Spanish, in case you were curious. All right. Anyway, guys, Lincoln could only reprimand the French. In 1866, however, President Johnson moved against the French. He sent 50,000 veteran troops to the Mexican border. The threat of force led to the withdrawal of French troops. So then we got trouble with Mexico, and we got William Seward, okay, U.S. Secretary of State, and he's the one that bought Alaska for $7 million. I'd say that's pretty good. Okay. Passed with his 37-2 vote. Okay. Seward also signed a treaty of friendship and commerce with China in 1868. All right. And then we got Hiram Ulysses Grant. And I love U.S. Grant. He did make some mistakes, but by the same token, this is when the Transcontinental Railroad was getting built. And there was some ugly, ugly, ugly business stuff going on. One thing I do want you to look on this is the 15th Amendment. That amendment kept states from denying the vote to any citizen on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Okay. There were a couple of issues that talks about the Grant scandals down here. All right. There was a lot of political corruption, but it had to do with, once again, Transcontinental Railroad, a lot of greed, and there was a lot of money being thrown around on that one. All right. Uh, anyway, guys, you had a lot of ex-rebels that were working on the Transcontinental Railroad. You've got a lot of your ex-rebels at this time period were actually outlaws. For example, Frank and Jesse James. Okay, they were out doing some raiding. Okay, guys. Anyway, on your section quiz on page 311, you need to knock that out today. It talks about here evaluate radical reconstruction by using Bible passages, including Psalm 72, Proverbs 22, and Proverbs 27. I had my Bible handy, but I don't have it right here. But guys, just I want you to go through those. Just use those three, and um, we'll go from there. But anyway, the gist of it is, guys, um, uh, talk about when it talks about radical reconstruction. All right, think about how taking care of the oppressed, the hurting. Okay, those that have been forced to, uh, those people that were doing unjust policies. All right, guys, 19 minutes into this. Excuse me for being so long. Hope you guys are having a great day. Miss you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, have a great day. Bye.